Hi everybody! I'm going to be doing a little flip through of what I'm using for self-care, and I've seen people have really elaborate setups for self-care type tracking with really specific goals and things like that. Mine is nowhere near that kind of organized. Basically what I have here is an A6 hand-stitched leather tee. This is in the light tobacco color, and it is just a folio, so there are no traveler's notebook strings. And I've been using this since the beginning of the year, and I have a Midori MD notebook in here. This is the diary, specifically the 1 day, 1 page. And I got this in September of 2018, and then it just quickly sold out. So if this particular version is one that you may be interested in getting for next year, definitely be on the lookout this September when the new releases are revealed and starting to be sold in different places. I got mine through an Etsy store, and I will link that store in the description, but I mean, it's just kind of a free-for-all, so wherever you can get it, go ahead and get it, because everywhere that I've seen it, it has had very limited stock, and I do think Jet Pens for like half a second will have it in stock, so definitely check there too. But I am actually really surprised that I'm using this, that this is something that has stuck with me. I don't do really serious self-care, but the way that I'm doing it in here just really works for me. So I'll show you what I'm doing. I haven't actually featured this particular notebook in its own video, so I'm actually going to do a flip through because there's nothing very private in here, which you'll see. I put a stamp here. I got this stamp from Woodland Tale on Etsy, and I think they have some of the cutest hand-carved stamps, so I put my little mouse there. Otherwise, this thing is really not embellished. In the months, I'm using that to just track steps, and I've actually put paper over the last part of this month. This is the month of February, because I am really bad at my step counts. I will have really awesome days, and then I will have the most abysmal step counts, and yeah, I'm like a little embarrassed about them, so I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna cover that part up. But the beginning of February started out really strong, and the only specific goal that I have as far as health, wellness, and happiness is to try and just get 10,000 steps a day, in any way that I can get it. So there's no specific like workout regimen. You know, I've got a treadmill, so if I need to finish off my step count, I can hop on there and get the rest of it. So, you know, there's nothing very specific about it. And then also what I've done here, there's these 2 weeks are full of 10K, which is 10,000 steps. And I didn't just stop at 10,000. Some of these days I actually got up to 12,000, but I don't want to be a stickler about this stuff because I have a tendency to become really honed in and really obsessive about numbers and things like that. And I don't think that's very healthy for me, just knowing myself and what my tendencies are. So these are nice even numbers. You know, I just write 10K because that is the goal. If I reach 10K, then I've reached that goal, and anything beyond that is just icing on the cake, and I don't have to worry about those specific numbers, because I feel like if I end up getting, 11,000, then I'm going to try to beat that the next time. And then I can just get really carried away with stuff like that. So if I hit 10K, I write 10K, and the goal the next day is to get somewhere in that same vicinity. So it's been hit or miss, but the pages up for the month spreads are just very plain. you know, this is a daily task to keep up with this book. So I keep it really clean and really simple because it just takes a minute or two for me to come in here, you know, check my Fitbit, scribble down the number, and then move on to the daily page and write out the entry for that day. So starting with January, all of my pages basically look like this. So when I say self-care, some of these pages, it can be very like exercise specific or diet specific. Sometimes they're just a win of the day. You know, sometimes I'm not focused on anything particularly exercise specific or nutrition specific, but just something that just made me feel positive about my day, because, you know, having a positive mental outlook on things is always helpful. So it could be something as simple as that. Oh, look, hot tea and manuka honey. That is like exactly what I have right here because I've got a cough that won't quit and I'm trying to fix that. So you know, so it could be something as simple as like I took time out to have a cup of tea to try and take care of what's ailing me. You know, so there's that, you know, just I'm momming really hard and just feeling accomplished. So, you know, and like this one, this was my birthday dinner and I had my favorite cake from one of my favorite restaurants, and it was just something that made me happy. See, so it doesn't have to be all about, you know, maintaining a specific health goal. And for a lot of these entries, I was writing vitamins because for some reason, I got in a rut of having my entry be something very specific to health. And then I was realizing that, you know, self-care is very broad. So it doesn't have to be just all about something that pertained to my physical health. So as you can see, I'm playing around with lettering. There's no stamps, no colors. There's nothing but this Uniball Signo in the 0.38. That is what I'm using in here. And that's it. I'm not using anything else to make this pretty. I'm not trying to be fancy other than changing up the lettering. And here, see, I'll write down the wrong date sometimes. You know, I just wrote oops because this was supposed to be the 25th, but I wrote 26th and then I had to write 26 again. So it's not perfect. I'm practicing my doodling. And a lot of this is just me practicing my lettering. And I think because I'm keeping it so simple, I don't have a lot of things that I'm using. You know, it's just the pen. And I'm just kind of writing down, you know, one thing. I write down the date and then I write one thing, you know, that I felt positive about for that day, that may have benefited me in some way. And I leave it at that. And I actually really love how these pages are turning out. I started this and, oh, don't let this fool you. It says keto eating. And I did that for one day. It was just experimental. I was just trying it out. But, you know, I felt good about myself for trying something new. And, you know, so that was an entry there. And then, you know, I'll add a little bit of doodles if I feel so inclined, if I just have extra time. You know, this, like I said, is a daily thing. So if I don't have enough time to get all elaborate with it and fill it up with doodling, then I won't. And that's totally fine. And I like how the pages are turning out. And thank goodness, because that's the reason I have been keeping up with this. And it's to the point now where this feels very second nature. I'm not bothered by having to do this. I feel like I'm filling this up really quickly. And that's always like a really good feeling when I kind of go back and see, wow, look at all these pages that I've filled up in this book. And I think it's just going to end up being a really pretty book at the end of the year for me to keep. And I've watched a lot of shows and TVs, you know, so if I'm watching a show that I'm really loving, what tends to happen is I'm a stay-at-home mom. I homeschool my kids, so I can't really watch things that are adult at all until my kids are in bed. So a lot of the times I get my kids to sleep and then I have, you know, a few hours for myself. And so I will sit down and I will watch a show and I will just decompress from all of my responsibilities and everything that has been going on that day. And I will just unplug with that. So I watched A Discovery of Witches, and is that a guilty pleasure? I really like that show. I never read the books, but man, yeah, I got really invested in that. My sister turned me on to it, and that dominated my alone time for like a week. So that was awesome. Oh, I got really into puzzles too. My husband bought like a 2,000 piece puzzle and he abandoned it, and it's all mine now, and I'm almost done with it, but I didn't know I've been working on it since February 23rd. But that has been a really great thing for me to decompress. I just zone out and I just focus in on the puzzle, and I like stuff like that where it requires me to be really focused on the task at hand. So I've been really enjoying that. So there's probably another page or two about the puzzle. And yeah, so it's really simple, but I feel like it's really interesting still for me. And it has helped me tremendously in my lettering, doing this every day. And I didn't intend for it to be a kind of lettering practice kind of thing. And it was just part of how this thing evolved. And it just, you know, I started it and I kind of just let it take me where it was going to take me. And this has ended up being such an awesome thing for me to do. And I'm already thinking about how I'm going to approach something like this for next year. I really, really, really love this notebook. And I know that I want to get another one for next year and continue this in some way. I don't know if I'm actually going to keep it as a self-care thing like this again. I may assign a different task for it, but I feel like I would approach it in a kind of this same manner again, because it's just so easy to do and it just helps with my creativity in, you know, my lettering styles and stuff. So here you can see I messed up the date again. I went from the 14th to the 16th, and then I hate writing X's. They're the worst. And like when you're in cursive and hand lettering, I just hate it so much. And so I didn't want to write 16th again. So I just wrote 15th here and put like an arrow, like just switch it, whatever. There's my puzzle again. So as you can see, that is really, really simple. And I didn't want to show this until I had like a whole bunch of pages that I could flip through, because otherwise it'd be like, yeah, I'm just writing the date and writing a word, and it's not that exciting. But for some reason, this has been such a win for me this year so far. I've never felt discontent with this. I'm so excited to have this book completely filled. And I'm just really, really surprised that this has worked out. And if it's something I enjoy doing, then I'm just gonna keep on doing it. And it came with, the book came with these tabs that you just put on each month, and it has these lines on the edge so you can get the tabs, you know, perfectly placed. And I ended up putting one on for January, and I hated it. I didn't like it at all. I haven't thrown these out, but I'm not going to use them because they just stuck out too much. And what I like to do is for my pen, recently I've just had a thing about keeping my pens and everything like hidden within the book and not having them stick out if I can help it. And what I found I like doing is in this secretarial pocket in the back here, I just put the clip of the pen and hook it as far to the right as I can. And then I just find that when the back cover of the book is slipped into the full-length pocket, the pen will just sit really nicely within the U shape of the edge of the papers there. And it just makes quite a cute little satisfying setup. And that is what I'm doing for my quote-unquote self-care journal. It's definitely not really tracking, I don't think, but I like to keep it simple. I have a lot of things that I do on the daily, like a lot of notebooks that I keep up with on the daily. So keeping it really simple and streamlined like this has been so helpful for me to keep up with it. So yeah, that is what I'm doing. Let me know if you guys keep anything for self-care and how you do it. If you keep it really simple like this, or you have something that's much more goal specific and where you track a lot of information. Anyway, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.